Imagine waking up in 14th century Europe to news that half your village has died overnight. Panic grips the streets, doctors wear beaked masks, and people believe the end of the world is near. This was the reality during the Black Death, one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. But beyond the devastation, it reshaped the world in ways we still feel today. Today, we're exploring how societies react to global health crises, using the Black Death as our lens, and what it can teach us in our modern world. In the early 1340s, the bubonic plague began spreading across Asia, carried by fleas living on rats. By 1347, it reached Europe through trade ships arriving in Sicily. Over the next 5 years, it killed an estimated 25 to 50 million people, around a third of Europe's population. But what mattered just as much as the disease was how people and governments reacted to it. Medieval map showing trade routes, animation of the plague spreading, illustrations of plague doctors in towns. It followed the very veins of commerce, caravans, ships, and crowded ports. And everywhere it went, it forced societies to confront the unknown, often unprepared. The world felt fragile. Communities held their breath. From Sicily, the pestilence spread with terrifying efficiency across the continent. A single force touching every village, every city, every shore. In the face of a terrifying unknown, societies often search for answers and someone to blame. Medieval Europeans didn't know about bacteria or viruses. Many believed the plague was a punishment from God. Others blamed astrological alignments or even toxic air, what they called miasma. In many places, scapegoating took hold. Jewish communities were falsely accused of poisoning wells, leading to violent pogroms and mass killings. This tells us something crucial. In a crisis, fear can often overpower facts, leading to division, misinformation, and violence. Sound familiar? Across town squares and sanctuaries, people sought meaning where science could not yet speak. Fear rearranged daily life and turned communities inward. The human response became as consequential as the pathogen itself. Not all responses were chaotic. Some cities, like Venice, took early steps toward public health measures. In 1377, they instituted a system called 40 giorni, 40 days of isolation for incoming ships. This is where we get the word quarantine. Other cities closed their gates, banned travel, or burned infected areas. Though crude by today's standards, these actions marked the beginning of organized public health, an attempt to contain disease through policy, not prayer. Quarantine stations held ships, people, and goods until the danger had passed. Enforcement was imperfect and sometimes harsh, yet it signaled a new logic. Civic authorities began taking responsibility for population health. They imposed sanitation rules and restricted movement. From these early measures grew the principles of epidemiology and disease control we rely on today. Quarantine turned fear into action, and crisis into institutional memory. The Black Death didn't just kill people, and it upended society. With so many dead, labor became scarce. Peasants and workers could demand better wages and conditions. This shook the foundations of feudalism in Europe. The plague also changed cultural attitudes. Art became darker. Religion was questioned. Science and medicine began to gain traction as tools for understanding the world. Out of crisis came transformation. Painful, but revolutionary. A new economy emerged, more mobile and more monetized, the shape of the future. Fast forward to recent times, like the COVID-19 pandemic. We saw many of the same patterns: fear and confusion, misinformation spreading faster than the virus, scapegoating of certain communities, economic disruption, and eventually, innovation in medicine, technology, and remote work. History doesn't repeat itself exactly, but it rhymes. By studying past pandemics like the Black Death, we gain insight into how human societies cope and evolve in times of crisis. Preparedness is built on memory and choices. The lessons endure when we choose to remember. So, what's the lesson? That fear is natural, but how we respond matters even more. That public health needs investment, even in times of calm, and that truth, science, and compassion must guide us, not rumor or revenge. The Black Death was a tragedy, but it also pushed humanity to rethink how we live, work, and govern. Let's carry those lessons forward, Because the next global crisis won't wait 700 years to arrive. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.